We're going live. It says we're live. All right. We're live. Boom, 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 boom. We're live on all of the channels. Hey, y'all. Hey, it's JJ Conway. I'm Queen of Cash Flow. And today I'm going to share with you how to succeed when they say you can't. Let me say that again. Today, I'm going to share with you how to succeed when they say you can't. This is a continuation of our discussion from Juneteenth Legacy. Those of you who are in the conference and had a copy of your booklet, one of the things that you would have seen is that I was supposed to give a talk at the end. Well, I didn't give a talk at the end because we had so many technical issues that we got quite behind. And we didn't want to wear out our welcome with the venue that already gave us plenty of extra time and accommodation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about Juneteenth Legacy, and then I'm going to give you all the talk that I would have given at the end, which is how to win the game when they say you can't. The Juneteenth Legacy Conference was amazing, y'all. I always get a little worried when you start off and the room is more empty than you want it to be. And I think the Lord had to let me know once again that He is in control and that He'll put the right people that need to be in the room together. And so by the time it was done, we had a pretty good crowd, and it was a wonderful experience. We had some fantastic speakers: Dr. George Fraser, Brother Bedford, Shakitha Owens. We had Pam Lilly. We had Senior Master Sergeant Wanda Joel. We had Monique Washington. We had Raymond Jenkins. I'm sorry. I know it's Raymond, but I don't have my list in front of me. Well, actually, I do. Hold on. What? Okay, hold on. Look. We had Dr. Jonas Gadsden. He gave us a pre-recorded talk this year just to be on the safe side. We had Brother Bedford. I think I already said that. Tasha D. Bryant. Oh my goodness, y'all. This was such a great conference. We had who else did we have that I missed here? Crystal Delane. Trying to get to the page that has everybody listed. Y'all, I'm tired. Can y'all tell I'm tired? Well, I'll tell you what, things didn't go the way they wanted to, but the oxtail got a little darker than I want to, but all that meant was there was enough left for me to have some dinner afterward. Yep, I already said Shakitha. I said Monique. We had some wonderful, y'all can't see that, I'm sorry. We had some wonderful folks today, and I'm very glad that everybody came through. Raymond Johnson, not Jenkinson. All right, we had some. And then, of course, oh my goodness, y'all, it was so great having Kareem Ellis there. Wait, see the right page. There we go. It was so great. It was so great having everybody there, I love it. I love finding, I think I mentioned Crystal Delane, that we had her there as well, and Pam Lilly. I love having speakers. I can learn from everybody. I always feel like there's always somebody that can teach me. I'm saying that wrong. I feel like I can always learn from people, right? Like everybody has something they can teach me, Everybody has something they can teach me. I'm not as big of a know-it-all as I used to be, right? Like, so when I was younger, I thought I knew everything. And because I could pick up a book and read it and learn how to do stuff, I thought that I knew everything and that I was good at everything. Well, the older I get, the more I realize that A, the world grows more complicated. The world grows more complex as time goes on. And B, some things just require finesse and an expertise. Some things I can do, like I can hang a picture straight without a level. That's just my spatial. I can do that, right? But do you think I'm going to do all my graphic design? I used to do all my graphic design, and then I found out, guess what? There are people who've actually gone to school to learn how to do this the best way possible, the most eye-catching way possible, and the best way to get money out of people's pockets possible while still having integrity. And I should probably let them do their job, right? And so the older I've gotten, the more I realize I really don't know a whole lot. But one thing I do know is I know the one who knows everything. And I also know that he puts people in my path to help me do whatever it is that needs to be done. And so I can rest on that and that trust. And that's exactly what happened today. The Lord showed up, showed out, and made things move in this conference. Ah, hey, lady. Hey, lady. There is the electronic copy that you can download from the conference link. And if you want one, I can mail you one. We have some extras. I can mail you your packet because you were a speaker. Also with the shirts, we have only a limited number left. We have I think it's a small and a medium in this one. And then we have the maroon, heather, whatever it takes. We have that one in more sizes, but we no longer have a medium in that one. That was sold out in the medium. But this one, we had a small. I think we have a medium and a small in this one here. And I think we're going to make this the conference motto. You know, people are really afraid right now to wear stuff like this. And that's one of the things that we talked about today at the Juneteenth Legacy Conference, is that people are really kind of scared to wear things like this, to proclaim their Blackness and to proclaim that they're not embarrassed or ashamed of it, and to proclaim that they're just as much a human being as the next person over that isn't Black. And that's a really interesting thing when you consider how different phrases mean different things to people because of the different experiences. And that's why, like, as a coach, I don't ever try to tell you what to do. I tell you what to do in my classes. I say, this is what I think you should do. But when it comes to a coaching relationship, I'm really more trying to help you draw the answers out of you, because I can talk to a general audience like this right now and say, this is what I think you should do. But one-on-one, it would be foolish and arrogant of me to think that everything that I did that was right and worked out right is exactly what you need to do, because I don't know your life. I don't know your struggles. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what you're recovering from. And so everybody tends to make the best decision they can in the moment that they make it. And every once in a while, we might feel like we have a moment of weakness or something. But if you're part of the same heavenly family I am, those moments of weakness don't have to dictate your future, because you've been set free from all that. And the Lord always opens up a door of escape when you have those temptations to play on your phone when you should be building your business. I'm not saying don't play on your phone. Oh, I didn't mean to go there, y'all. I'm not saying don't play on your phone. I intend to play on my phone when I get done with this class. In fact, I intend to get my little one, and we're going to do some Rosetta Stone. We do our nightly Rosetta Stone, and then we play on the phone as we snuggle and getting ready for bed. It's probably where it takes them too long to get to bed, but it's fun, you know. It's a nice little quiet moment for us. And so I fully intend to do that. But a lot of us, and this is not where I was going, but somebody needs to hear it. A lot of us, we'll do so many busy work kind of things instead of doing the thing that really needs to get done. And we'll rearrange our desk, and we'll repaint our office, and we'll move this and here. And I'm the queen of, I just packed up another bag of things to take over to the women's shelter or to the Hope thrift store. I'm the queen of, oh, let me go get these dishes done and this laundry done and blah, 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 when I really have something to do. Funny how when it's time to normally do laundry and normally do dishes and normally clean the bathroom, none of that stuff bubbles up into my awareness like, hey, you know what, you probably should do this right now. Instead, it's like, oh, I should sit on Netflix. I should do this. I should do that. And none of it has anything to do with anything that needs to get done. And so be on the lookout for that in your life, because I have found in my life that there are times and seasons where the Lord has called me to get up and do certain things, or to stay up late and do certain things. But more often than not, in a spiritual battle for the territory of our minds, one of the things that I find happens a lot is I will start to getting stuff done, and boom, 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 moving and shaking. And I'm answering all these emails, and I'm answering all these requests, and I'm coming up with these proposals, and I'm filming the video real quick, and it's a one-take wonder, and I'm just excited about it instead of not, some of us have 90 takes to make one minute video to apply for something, and I'm getting better at that. Back in the day it was 90 takes, now it's like 40. But I'm getting better, right? But so, but still, I'm at one take, getting this done, getting that done, and invariably, not all the time in my whole life, but in the season I am in, where there are things that I need to get done that only I can do, or I stop the running show of my business, and people are waiting on decisions, and people are this and people are that. They can't move forward unless I do my part, or else I give them the authority to do more without my input. Invariably, I'll get to making it happen here, and everywhere, instead of making the decisions that my team needs me to make so they can roll on. I'll get all these things moving and shaking and hipping and happening over here instead of spending the quality time with my family that I need to spend. And so what we find then is there are so many competing priorities for us. It's important to pay attention to what's going on. And I have found in those seasons where I'm like, boom, 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 sometimes it's the Lord. I'm not an early riser, y'all, but I woke up at 4:30 to make them oxtail because I needed to cook on low for 8 to 12 hours. And I woke up at 4 this morning to do that. And then I was going to go back to sleep. And the Lord said, take care of this. Oh, you forgot about this. And he kept bringing things back to my remembrance that I forgot about. And I was moving and shaking to get it done. And I had to pause. Like, Lord, do I need to go back to bed? Because I need my sleep. If I don't get my sleep, not only am I cranky mommy, but I'm not a good conference planner, conference hostess, conference speaker. And I know that about myself. So when I travel, that's why I guard my diet and I guard my sleep until after the speaking engagement is over. But I boom, 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 getting this done and that done. Oh, I had forgot to do this. Oh, I need to do that. Hey, I forgot to set up the email chain in EventNoir. You can set up the email chain in EventNoir and Eventbrite, a lot of those event platforms. You set up an email chain to send out the emails and the text a day out, a couple hours out, a couple minutes out, things like that. And I'm boom, boom, boom. And I inquire of the Lord, and the Lord says, you're not going to go back to sleep anyway. This, and this need to get done. And this, and this got done. Well, most of the time, y'all, I'm going to be honest with you, most of the time, when I find myself moving and shaking, when I peel back the onion and I ask the Lord, isn't this interesting? Normally, I would be too tired to do this. This is not my high energy part of the day. I seem to be uncharacteristically fruitful in this season, and I want to celebrate that and do more of whatever got me there. And many times, I don't want to say 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, what it really is the enemy is sending me a productivity distraction. And so we can be derailed by the non-productive busy work. That's one that we always talk about, but we still do it anyway, right? But the other one is the productive distraction. All right? The productive distraction is the one where you feel like you're moving forward and getting where you need to go. But in the spirit, what you're really doing is you are not heeding the voice of the Spirit. You're not doing what you need to do. You're not making the move forward you need to make in the direction of the calling and the dream that you have. And so even though you are doing a great job, quote unquote, great job, even though you are, quote unquote, making it happen, in the spiritual realm, you are actually taking a step back. What does that look like in real life, JJ Conway? Because it sounds like you're either productive or you're productive or you're productive or you're not productive. But how do I know the difference? Last night was an example of being productive in the right time and place, even though it wasn't a place for me. But sometimes I'm productive, but I haven't prayed all day, or I missed my noon prayer time, or I haven't studied my Bible all day and I missed my devotion time. I didn't go to the gym and I missed the second class of the gym. So I didn't go in the morning and I didn't go in the evening. Isn't that interesting? And I find myself challenging my decisions, challenging my productivity, challenging my lack of energy. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that I am moving and shaking on this project and I'm getting this done and this done and this done, but it's not really this speaking engagement is like 6 months in the future. And I've got a doctoral program. I got a doctoral project that's due tomorrow. Why am I moving and shaking over here and not doing the work at hand? Oh, I'm moving and shaking. I'm making all these proposals for speaking engagements. I'm clicking the video. I'm going out to, Speaker Match or e-speakers or all these different things that I can go to and try to match up with gigs. And I'm pulling out my phone and, hi, I'm JJ Conway, and I can't wait to speak at your event. And yes, I speak on finances, but here's why you really need me in the National Toilet Paper Producers of America, because I can help your people produce better toilet paper with a higher level of autonomy. Okay, didn't that just roll? Oh, that's good. That's good. If that was a real speaking engagement, I could probably get it, But my kid hasn't been played with in 2 days, 3 days, because mama's been working on stuff. The dishes haven't been washed. The laundry hasn't been folded. My closet is a whole mess of dumpage because I came home from this event and dumped everything out and refilled the suitcase. And I came from this event and dumped everything out and refilled the suitcase. I don't really dump everything out, but it probably looks like that to my husband and my son. And sometimes me, after about 3 weeks of dumping everything and repacking, it does kind of look like I just went and threw it all in there and grabbed a few other things, right? Because I'm rolling on this over here. This over here is not even important for a couple months. But the fact that I can't find anything in my office closet, or the fact that I can't find anything in my office files, the fact that I can't find anything to wear, and I know I got all these clothes, the fact that I can't find the right pair of shoes, when not only do I have 3 closets that I'm working with, but then I also have like shoe racks and all the things to make sure I can find the shoes. Why can't I find the shoes? Because I took time on the things that felt good and the time on the things that made me feel like I was doing a good job, instead of spending time on the things that would actually accelerate my success. Now, if you balling like that, I'm not telling you, you don't get a maid. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is we can get frustrated with things not falling into place the way they need to. But if we peel back the onion, we find we are spending time on things that really aren't necessary in the moment. They may be good, they may be productive, and there may be something that we could work on long term. But I gotta tell you, this is just me. Your mileage may vary. When it's a strategic decision and a strategic move that is beneficial to me in the long term, I'm not walking in the energy of avoiding something real to get this or that done. It's the people that I ignore my doctoral work for and spend an hour on the phone with that aren't never going to book or aren't ever going to pay, or we're ideologically different. Or they're just going to burn my time. They have no intention of buying anything. They have no intention of ever, walking with me in the future, because you don't always have to buy to me. Like there's all kinds of ways to support. I'll cover that real quick in a second. But the people I'm talking about, the ones that got a million questions, they take up all your time, and then they don't ever support you. They don't forward your stuff. They don't buy your stuff. They don't tell their friends about your stuff. They don't even like or comment on your stuff. But yet they want to tie you up all day. And so what I find is, oh, well, I'm doing this. And if I don't build these relationships, I'm not going to have speaking engagements. But over here, these assignments need to get done. Over here, these contracts need to get signed. Over here, these phone calls need to be returned. Some of us, not everybody, but some of us will go after new business. We'll make the initial cold call. We've learned our little sales script. We'll make the initial cold call. And we'll even type up the email as to why we're a good fit, and we'll make the continuation like I did before. Like, I talk on this, you're looking for this. Here's the bridge for why you still need me, right? But this or that and the other need to be done. We'll go after the business. We'll get the business coming to us, and then we won't follow up. We won't return the phone call. We won't reply to the email. Sometimes, if you're like me, sometimes I don't even open them up. If I know that person, if I know that person is somebody that they have like long texts and they ask a lot of questions, and it's going to take me a minute to actually digest it and answer it, I may not open that thing for weeks because I just don't have the capacity to process whatever is needed right at that moment. Maybe not weeks. I don't want to put it like that, but what are we doing? What are we spending our time on? We have to watch out for these distractions of productivity, these productivity distractions. We have to watch out for them in our lives, because if we don't control that, it will control us. if we don't control the things that we are doing, and we don't make sure that they are aligned with our brand, that they're aligned with where we're going in the future, our strategic plan for the future, if we don't make sure that they are aligned with who we claim to be and who we want to be, if we don't continually sharpen that saw and continually look for evidence that we need to refile another area or repolish another area, if we don't do those things, we can very well find ourselves on the outside of God's kingdom looking in. Find ourselves on the outside of God's will trying to climb back. And I know it's not applicable to everybody, but some of us out there, the reason things aren't going as well for us as they should be going is that we're experiencing the chastisement that the Lord would do if he was standing here. And we experience a chastisement because we're his people. And we experience a chastisement. He's trying to get a hold of us. He's trying to shake us loose, right? And so if we don't, just like a parent, I'm like, it's just as if my son is here and I'm standing here and I chastise him because he didn't do something he should be doing. And instead he did this other thing. The Lord is like that with us sometimes. Okay. So I know this is a secular class. I'm not here to preach it just today, but I do feel like it's a really good lesson to understand that a lot of us, we have all these different reasons why things aren't working. Sometimes the reason is us. And I know I've talked to you all about how we tend to lie to ourselves. I talked to you about that in a previous lesson, but it's important to understand that we don't always know when we're the one self-sabotaging. And other people might know, but they know we won't listen to them, so they don't tell us. They just kind of be a friend and go along with us, And there's a handful of people out there that want the feedback and that want to incorporate that, but many of us don't, and so it doesn't come our way. But the way we know that things aren't working is, quite frankly, because things aren't working. So if things aren't working, why aren't they working? Okay. I have had a lot of oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even mean to leave this up there this whole time. Sorry about that. Oh, wow. All these wonderful comments that I missed. Oh man, what was I going to say? A lot of times we don't have the results that we want to have because we aren't doing the things. And we think, oh, I'm going to get a checklist, and every morning I'm going to brute force, willpower my way through this checklist, and I'm going to get it done, and my business is going to grow. And then you discover a very curious thing about willpower. Willpower does not last very long. That's why New Year's resolutions don't work. That's why a lot of resolutions to turn over a new leaf don't work, because you need more than just a soulical experience of the saying, I want to change. Your will is just one faculty of your soul. And that soul is not the same as your spirit, your human spirit. What a lot of us need is a spiritual change deep down on the cellular level. And we need a spiritual change that even goes into the inner atomic particles and just changes the nature of our DNA. If you're starting off speaking and you're like, well, I know I have to tell all these stories to help get my points across, but when I try to tell the stories, they're all negative. Don't write this in the chat, but has that ever happened to you? You're trying to come up with something fun and lighthearted and everything is like negative. I'd want to give some examples, but I don't want either people to think I'm talking about them or people in my family get embarrassed if I am talking about them, right? But it's just all negative. You're like you want to go talk about the wonderful teas of the world, and you're like, oh, I've got all these wonderful teas, and I'm going to tell a great story about tea, but all I can think about tea is the time I choked on tea. And what's another funny story about tea? Well, the time that the tea spilled all over my white shirt. And all your stories about tea are just bad, and they're negative, and they're downers. Well, that's a sign that it's your mindset. And we think that, oh, I'm just going to muscle through this willpower. But the problem with muscling through willpower is you haven't changed anything about you. Nothing on the cellular level has changed. Nothing on the spiritual level has changed. And we as humans, we have a very hard time changing our soul just through willpower. Willpower is just not that strong. Now, it is a muscle, just like discipline, and you can exercise. Some people naturally have stronger will than others. Like Dr. Dobson's book, the parenting the strong-willed child, right? I got a couple of them. How do you parent the next generation of leader? Because the strong-willed child is, generally speaking, going to be one of the next generations of leaders, or the next big criminal. We don't know which one yet. But how do you change things? How many of you don't write this in the chat? Don't write this in the chat. How many of you started off strong 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then something derailed you? The change isn't willpower. The change isn't yet another checklist. The change isn't yet another mastermind group or yet another conference that you go to, and they're going to equip you with all this stuff, and you get there and they kind of saying the same things you already know, repackaged 20 different times. You need to be with somebody and with some people that are going to actually speak into your life and that are going to actually help you change things on that cellular level, on that spiritual level. That's why in my little tagline down there, it says jjclink.com/group, because if you don't have anybody who's been able to speak into your life and actually help bring real lasting change, and you need a thinking partner that's going to be able to analyze things and be like, okay, what about this? Tell me more about that. And that they're going to be able to be in tune enough with the universe that God created that they can be like, I sense this, I feel this, I see this. Okay. This is something that we need in our lives. And one of the reasons why so many of us have spent so much money. Oh, yeah, we have spent so much money chasing after somebody to help us achieve our dream, only to realize that the dream was already in us and was already fully resourced by the Lord when the moment He put it on our heart. And instead of allowing Him to open up our heart and show us the pathways, we're like running out to buy the next thing, thinking it's the easy button. And we're going to buy this next mastermind. We're going to buy this next anthology. We're going to buy this next conference package. And those are all good things. I would encourage you to keep doing that, especially if you're buying them with me. But there are some really good mentors out there. There are some really good mastermind groups out there. But you can do all of that. And at the end of the group, at the end of the training, when you finally install what you thought was the easy button, you push it and you find out ain't nothing changed. Because everything that changed was external. The internal energy is still there. The internal energy, the internal self-doubt, the internal angst, the internal hurt, the internal traumas, they're all still there. And they show up when you go about building your business and you make phone call after phone call after phone call, and you think you're doing the thing, because a lot of people won't make the phone calls. A lot of people, they won't make the phone calls, or they won't make the phone calls. They won't even pick up the phone. They might pick up the phone, but then they hang it up because they're too scared. You actually did the thing and you picked up the phone. And then you know what you did? You didn't follow up when you finally got a bite, because it takes like what? 1 out of every 20 is actually going to respond to you. And then finally somebody responds, they call you back and you don't answer. Well, I don't know that number. They call you back and you don't answer. Well, they probably weren't going to buy from me anyway. They call you back and you don't answer. Oh, they're probably just trying to sell me something, even though they say they're trying to buy from me. They're probably just trying to use that as a way to get their claws in to sell me on their next business opportunity. We sabotage ourselves from utilizing the opportunities that are pressed before us because of whatever unresolved traumas and issues are deep-seated in our cellular levels. And Anybody can sit down and chat with you for a little bit and help you process and get clarity on what you're feeling right now or what happened today. But not everybody is talented and gifted in the spiritual realm to be able to help you move forward and break free of those traumas. Now, I'm not a counselor. I didn't stay in a Holiday Inn last night. I don't pretend to be a counselor. I don't play one on TV. But one thing I do is I help people tear down obstacles. I help people break the bonds of the enemy. I help people change their lives and change their minds. And I help them do it on that, whatever you want to call it, the intergalactic, cellular, spiritual level, whatever word works for you. That's why my business succeeds. Because people can really change. And if you've been holding back, you holding yourself back, other things are holding you back, your health has been holding you back, other people have been holding you back, you got 3 kids under 3 at home, and that's holding you back. Well, look, that might be legit, y'all. That might be legit. Like, you got 3 kids under 3, I might need you to take a year and just like get some of them out of diapers, right? And I'm not being facetious on that. I opened up my church. I first became a pastor when my little one was 6 months old. And I remember thinking to myself, Lord, did you do this or did my leadership and me do this, like out of the flesh, or was this of the spirit? Because I would never, ever, 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 can I make myself any more clear, ever recommend that somebody start a church with a 6-month-old and their husband lives out of state. Wouldn't do it, wouldn't recommend it. 100% would not recommend. But the Lord is still good. He covers our human faults with grace, and he makes things work out. But we have to own that role. And so I hope that you will be encouraged by what you've heard to link your arms with somebody who has your best interest in heart, somebody who wants to see you succeed, somebody who the Lord has gifted with the ability to come up with ideas to help move things forward for you, and has come up with the opportunities to see something afar off and say, hey, that's going to help them down the line. I'm going to help them get there. That's going to help them down the line. I'm going to help them get there. I'm going to open up this door for them. I'm going to open up that door. I'm going to make this contact. I'm going to make that. I love to see my clients succeed. I love to see, one of the things that I love about my conferences is when people come in, a lot of times they'll gift their talent as a vendor or a volunteer. And my goal for all of those clients is that the next time I come around to town for that conference again, or the next time I host another event where they're at, that they have grown so much that I don't want to pay those prices because they have grown so much. Like, that's the kind of success story I love to hear. And I want you to have that success story as well. So if that's something that you are interested in and you need somebody in your corner, maybe you've grown up, like I did, a high achiever in a family of low achievers. And that's not knocking anybody. I think there's times where people in my life wish I would be a little bit less achieving and calm down a little bit and just relax a little bit. And look, I relaxed over them oxtail this evening. But maybe you've grown up and you're just always like the square peg trying to fit into a round hole. Or maybe you're one of those that grew up and everybody else in your family is a high S on the disc scale, and you're a high C, or you're a high D, and you just don't fit in with everybody else. Or maybe you're one of those situations where everybody around you has grown up in poverty. My favorite book says that the poor we're going to have with us always. Why are we going to have the poor with us always, despite the good that the Bible tells us we should be doing as people of God? Because people are always going to be a poverty mentality. And so some of us can escape poverty because we're willing to change our mentality. And you want to change your mentality. You want to hit those higher levels. You want to be in those places and spaces. You want your phone. You don't want to cut out Mookie and Pookie. You don't want to cut out Cousin Tommy and Cousin Frankie. But you want to add Les Brown and George Fraser and all those other people into your phone, right? Like, you want to elevate year after year after year after year. Well, hitch your wagon to somebody who will help you do that. Hitch your wagon to somebody that's connected to other people that can open up the doors for you. That's what I do. then I bring it to you, and we all grow together. We all build wealth together. All right. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed that. If you're listening to me as part of the Ladies of Wealth podcast, we have been talking live tonight on Thursday night of Juneteenth. And this episode, whenever it does air for the Ladies of Wealth podcast, is going to be a good one for you to get some foundation. But I encourage you to come next, because what I'm going to talk about next is the actual talk that I was supposed to give at Juneteenth. And we will cover how to win the game when they say you can't. So let me ask y'all this. When I just want to get some feedback real quick. Do you all like these Thursday night classes? Are y'all getting anything out of tonight? Would you like to hear more content like that? Is it helping you tear down some obstacles, tear down some strongholds of the enemy? If that's what you're getting through all this, I want you to let me know. I want you to let me know, and I want you to join our group coaching so we can continue to tear down those strongholds of the enemy in your life. All right. All right. Me and my son were editing, and he's like, you know what, Mom? You say all right, okay, all right, a lot. So what we're going to do now, let me get my pen and paper. What we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears just a little bit. And for those who are listening on part of the podcast, we do record these live on Thursdays, and then we extract them for the podcast. We do other recordings for the podcast too, but the ones where I'm just talking is usually Thursday nights. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to win the game when they say you can't. Okay. And when it comes to succeeding, there's so many things that conspire against us. And sometimes it's not even our fault. A lot of times it's not even our fault. Okay. A lot of times it's just the conditions and circumstances we found ourselves in. Now, the older I get, the more I realize that many of the conditions and circumstances I find myself in are a result of what decisions and choices I have made throughout time. Right. So there are some things like some of my health issues are because people kept hitting me. People kept rear-ending me, and it was never my fault. I've only had one accident in all my 50 years. I've only had one accident that was actually my fault, and that was like last year. And I still think it was the other girl's fault, but I didn't have a dash cam to prove it, so I got hit. I took the hit for it. But because of all those things, it causes trauma in your body, and it causes damage in your body, and there's healing that has to happen. And sometimes that the older you get, it seems like the slower that healing happens. Okay. So those things are things that happened to me, and the medicines that you take when you have stuff happen like that, the inability, like for 2 years after that one accident, I couldn't even really work out. Like I literally couldn't go exercise any more than just some light stretching, because any level of impact would slosh my brain too much, and I would start having neurological symptoms again for about 2 years. And so I was very pleased when I finally could go back to working out, and I was able to score excellent on my fitness test. It took a lot of work, and I was very happy about that. But some things you can control and some things you can't control. What we have to do is learn how to control the controllables. Okay. And so one of the things we can control is whether or not we go after our dream. Now, you can't necessarily control whether everybody around you believes in you and believes in your dream, right? Like some of us are still living at home. We can't just tell our mom and our dad, like, hey, this is my way or the highway. They're going to be like, this is our house. You don't pay the bills here. Go find your way in your own house, right? Like some of us have to learn how to play nice with our parents. Some of us have to suffer along playing nice with our parents until the time that we move out. And no, my son doesn't live with me, so this is not a veiled jab or anything. But I know some people that are listening, they do still live at home, and so one of their goals is to get out of the house. But you can't control everything. But if your family isn't buying into your dream, or they're not buying into you, or you're like me and you had like 16 different businesses before number 17 actually stuck, and maybe they're a little bit wary of you coming home with yet another business opportunity, you can't control that. But you can control you. You can control you. And that's what we need to do is control us. And I find that it's really, really hard to go after a dream when everyone else has been programmed around you that it's not possible. And what's worse is if you let other people, they will eventually program you and be like, it's not possible. And you'll begin to think, it's not possible. And you won't just stop believing in your dream. Like you won't dream it and be like, nope, I don't believe that. But the whole dream will just fade away. And it won't even come to your mind anymore. It won't even bubble up into your awareness. It won't even bubble up into your awareness. It's just like it just faded away. How many of you today have had a dream? How many of you have had a dream? And people are like, you crazy. Who you think you is? Get off your high horse. I want to encourage you to pursue that dream. Test the dream, put your dream to the test is the way John Maxwell writes it. He has a whole book called Put Your Dream to the Test. I like the way that the Bible says, test all the spirits to see which ones are true. You know, I'm not one of those people that believes every dream that comes to you is the Lord. I believe that some dreams and some things come to us as a distraction from the enemy. And so you test the spirit to see what's one is, whether they're true, right? But once you've determined that this is of the Lord, pursue it. Keep it alive. It's for you, and you can do it. You absolutely can do it. And you absolutely can make it happen. You may not have the money. You may not have the resources. You may not have the land. You may not have the genetics. You may not have the partners. You may not have the networks. You may not have any of that stuff in place right now. But if God led you to it, he will lead you through it. And if he put that dream on your heart, if he put that dream on your heart, then he has already fully resourced everything that you need to succeed. Woo. All right. Today I'm going to lay out for you a strategy that will help you succeed no matter what situation you're starting from, okay? You got no support system? I got you. You got no money to start your business? You're going to get what you need today. No, I'm not giving out money, but I'm going to teach you what you need to do so you can get money to do the dream, all right? You got an issue with procrastination? Can't get ahead because you're trying to be perfect all the time? Or maybe you're doing a bunch of busy work, but you're not getting nothing done? Oh, we're gonna dry that up today. If the pre-teaching to this on the last part of our time together tonight, or if you're listening on the podcast, the last episode, if that didn't do it, it's gonna get taken care of today. If you allow this teaching tonight to go into your heart, go into your soul, go into the cells of your being, you are gonna break free. I believe it. I am confident that you will break free. All right. So just to be clear who I'm talking to, all right, this is great content for everyone, okay? But my intention with this talk is to help people succeed who either find themselves in, this is Juneteenth, okay? This is Juneteenth, but I'm specifically talking today, not every day, but today. I am specifically talking about to people who need help to succeed, who find themselves in a white-dominated career field, or who have a dream, but it feels like the support system you know and love just wants to tear you down, okay? This will also be great for you who work with any young people that might find themselves in that kind of a situation. Okay? Are we good? Can I talk about this today? I don't know that I can talk about it too many other days considering that I live in rural Texas right now. But if I can talk about this today, I want you to just get yourself some paper. Get yourself some paper, and we're going to talk about how to win the game. All right? Okay. Now every time I say it, I'm going to be conscious of it because he brought it up. Now, before I get into how to win the game when they say you can, Let me first tell you why I'm so passionate about this. And some of you heard a little bit of my story with my keynote, okay? But I'm going to take you back to my first year of school. When I started school, the teachers told my mom I was slow and I would never really amount to much. They wrote me off, and so did most of the world. But my mom said not so. And she insisted on a certain second grade teacher that we had heard was known to be really good with kids. And I didn't realize it at the time, but was known to help slow kids succeed. And Mrs. Gilmore in that first progress report wrote that I didn't understand what was going on, but unlike my previous two teachers, she made it her mission to work with me until by the end of the school year, she wrote that my reading and my comprehension were on par with my grade level. I learned from my mom, it doesn't matter what they say. I can win this game. The world will always try to put limitations on us. And if you know, look, if you know what I'm talking about, drop me some hearts or comment I know or something like that, okay? The world will always try to put limitations on us, regardless of color, gender, or anything else that you might delineate yourself by. The world always tries to put limitations on others, on difference, but their limitations doesn't have to define our future. Their limitations don't change who we are. And actually, when it comes to limitations, most of the time, people are actually well-meaning. Most of the time, they're just trying to protect us from disappointment, trying to protect us from failure, trying to protect us from other kinds of harms. It's out of their desire to keep us safe that they tell us to play small. And some people themselves are too disappointed in their own failures to really push you to be your best. I like how Les Brown says it. Other people's opinion of us does not have to become our reality. And we don't have to allow the reality or the perception of others to become our reality. I worked very, very hard in school. I was never the smartest kid in the room, okay? People sometimes think I'm a brainchild, but I was actually never really the smartest kid in the room. What I was the most hardworking. And this paid off when I received a full ride scholarship to the Air Force Academy. And then I get there, and I at first was like, whatever, I'm getting a free degree. Let me get something, easy. But then that challenge nature in me kicked in, and I couldn't make up my mind about declaring my major. I had straight A's in chemistry, but oh my goodness, chemistry was so boring to me. I could get the A's, but I could get the A's, but I didn't like it, okay? And, if I may, the people that did that work, they just didn't seem real fabulous to me, right? Physics wasn't really my strongest class, but it was super cool to levitate magnets and design rocket ships. So even though the chemistry department welcomed me with open arms, I wanted to interview the physics advisor before making up my mind. Only he insisted I wasn't qualified. Why not? I got A's and B's in all my scientific and mathematical classes, and all you needed was a B average. I didn't know. I didn't have enough experience. I wasn't old enough. Fill in the blank. I just didn't know back then how people do when they don't want you around. How they come up with reason after reason after reason after reason why you can't. And so I kept answering his reasons until he finally shouts out, "Blacks can't do physics. You can't do it. You're not going to make it. You're going to fail. Blacks can't do physics." Now, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to tell me what I'm not able to do. I declared physics. And again, not the smartest kid in the room. I acknowledge it. But for sure, the hardest working. And though a handful of my physics instructors supported me, I had to also deal with the fact that not only was I not the smartest kid, not only was I not only was I still hearing that voice of you're slow, you're never going to amount to anything, but now I found myself rejected by many peers and most of the professors. I wasn't invited to the study groups, and it seemed like many of my professors just somehow didn't have time for me when I sought extra help. One particular day, I was in this class and it had gotten so hard. I seriously thought about quitting. I'd go into the instructor's office for extra help and then come out more confused than when I went in. And after about 2 months, on a day when all the other professors were gone, he leveled with me. Look, my job is to get rid of you. If you will stop coming in here, I will stop feeding you the wrong answers. I stopped going into his office, and in 1997, as president of the Physics and Astronomy Club, I graduated from the Air Force Academy with a bachelor's degree in physics, a concentration in space. Not only was I the number 5 physics graduate of that class, which earned me the last slot for a full ride master's degree, but this lady who was told that blacks can't do physics, oh, I went on to do physics for 23 years in the Air Force, and I was the first African American to have that job in the military. So don't let people tell you what you can and can't do. A lot of you today, you were the first person in your family to accomplish something. Maybe you were the first one to graduate from high school. Maybe you were the first one to buy a house, the first doctor, the first nurse, the first business owner, the first teacher. If you've been the first in something in your family, I want you to write me about it, okay? I want you to write me about it because I want to know and support you in that journey. Because I bet you had a lot of people try to tell you you can't do it. I bet you had a lot of people try to tell you don't waste your time. I bet you had a lot of people who acted like they were on your side, but they fed you the wrong answers. And I bet you've also found it to be true what Les Brown said, that the greatest revenge is massive success. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Remember what Audrey Hepburn said, nothing is impossible. The word impossible even says, I'm possible. It doesn't matter what they say. You can win this game. Oh, y'all, okay, let me calm down, okay, because that's not the end of the story. That's a great story. I'm very proud of my journey in the Air Force. I thank the Lord for every step of the way. But that's not the end, all right? So now I'm in the Air Force, free bachelor's in physics, free master's in nuclear engineering, second dumbest kid in the class, okay? But really pretty much the most likable. So all my bosses kind of liked me. Not all of them, but most of my bosses like me, right? We'll talk more about that later. I built my career on being able to translate scientific gobbledygook into terms that regular people understand. And most scientists can't do that, okay? But halfway through my military career, y'all, I came home from a trip to find my house sold, stuff thrown out, and divorce papers in my face. I was now a military single mom with over $800,000 of debt. And people told me, walk away from the debts or file bankruptcy. That's too much. There's no way you can overcome that. That's what people said. But I couldn't file bankruptcy. I would lose my clearance. And with it, the only job I knew how to do. I could not afford to do that. I needed to put food on my table. You know, I always wonder when people tell you to give up, like what exactly are they thinking you're going to do? You know what I mean? Like, oh, just give up. Stop trying so hard. Like, well, then what are you supposed to do? Now, if any of y'all have ever been in bankruptcy, you already know what the same thing I know. Bankruptcy was not going to solve this problem. And if you haven't filed bankruptcy, then I'm sure you know somebody who has. It provides a temporary relief, but it really doesn't make things better because then once you have filed bankruptcy, it takes a whole lot more work to turn things around. And unless you've got family with resources or something like that where it's a special situation, it's a cycle that keeps happening over and over and over. Albert Einstein said, you cannot solve today's problems with the same level of thinking that created them. And when you want to make a massive change in your life, when you have what appears to be an insurmountable obstacle blocking your way, It takes a creative new way of thinking in order to find a way forward. You can't solve today's problems with yesterday's thinking. I had to learn how to hustle in a hurry. I had to learn how money worked, and I started teaching classes on dumping debt and how to invest in real estate without going into more debt. Y'all, I was fighting for my legacy and for my son. And now I empower others to win with money using those same money management, real estate investment, and business strategies that got me out of other that negative negative net worth. Okay. Yeah. For those of you who haven't been with me long, I wanted to have when I crossed that zero line of being worth negative to being worth positive, I wanted to have a JJ's worth nothing party, but it was COVID, so we never did it. Okay. But I'm currently a full-time mom and also full-time speaker, trainer, and coach. And so I just want you to understand, it doesn't matter where you're starting from. You can win this game. It doesn't matter what they say. You can win this game. Say it with me. I know it's kind of silly, but say it with me. I can win this game. I can win this game. So let me go ahead and I think many of you know about the car accident I had. That's really my biggest challenge that I've had, but I feel like the time is going so late. I could talk to you about more and more challenges and stuff, but I do want to just kind of mention it briefly. Trying to think and make sure I can cut down the story. So, we forget all the times that the Lord opened doors or strengthened us when we're going through. Sometimes we see that the solution isn't coming fast enough, and we begin to yield to anxiety and depression. And that's exactly what I did after a car accident that left me with post-concussive syndrome. So originally said TBI, but I healed so much they downgraded it to post-concussive syndrome and memory issues. And here I was this scientist, y'all, who had written reports for the president. And now I couldn't even make Monopoly change with my son. I thought my life was over. And at work, I became the butt of many jokes, as well as the office scapegoat. Some of you's been there, It's like everybody just waiting for you to fall. And then they swoop on in like vultures. I'm thinking about the buzzards that were flying in the Lion King that we just took my son, my husband and I took my son to go see. They're just circling around. They're circling around, just waiting for you to fall, just waiting for you to make a mistake, just waiting to be able to say, ha ha, just waiting to be able to use you as the scapegoat. Y'all, I was sinking. And I love the Lord. Yes, I loved the Lord. And yes, I had done great things in my past. But again, I couldn't even make Monopoly change with my son. I really thought I was going to be a vegetable, sitting in the corner, watching everybody else live while I just wasted away. And the first neurologist I worked with told me as much. It doesn't matter what they say. You can win this game. That man told me, y'all, that I had 5 to 10 years of a good brain left. Well, we just crossed over into year 8. We have finished 8 years. Wait, let me rephrase that. That didn't come out right. Let me get something to drink real quick. That man told me that I had 5 to 10 years of a good brain left. And in May of 25, that was 8 years since that car accident. And I think he was wrong. It doesn't matter what they say. You can win this game. I found the right doctors, the right supplement, the right diet. And today I run an international financial education company. Not perfectly, but well enough. And you don't have to be perfect. You are enough. And I don't know what you're facing right now. I just know that life is a series of challenges, one after another, after another, after another. And we have to be intentional about remembering our past successes and reminding ourselves of our dreams, of our calling, of our gifting, of our greatness. You need to be reminded that there is greatness within you. You need to sometimes be reminded that God has called you to do great things. You sometimes need to be reminded that God has called you to make a great impact in the life of someone else. There is greatness within you. All right? Whew, okay. So you hear the medical issues that I was having, okay? And then you add the perceived unintelligence of people of color. You know, there are times where our reputation precedes us. And one of the things I hated about having that car accident was maybe verifying some of those long-standing stereotypes because of my squirrely brain, you know. I just I just didn't know what I was going to do to overcome it. And sometimes today, whether it's racial, gender, even generational bias, y'all, you know, the bias that they have because they think you're too old or too young. At some point, your dream is going to lead you into an obstacle that you had no part in creating. It's going to lead you into an obstacle that you had no part in creating. You're still doing everything you know how to do, but the doors aren't opening. You're doing everything you know how to do. You're making all the phone calls. You're networking with all the people. You've taken a chance on you and showing up to this event and showing up to that event, but nothing's opened up. Other people who are less qualified and less effective are winning the contracts, getting the promotions. And you might be feeling like it's not your fault. It's not fair. Well, guess what? You're right. It's not. It's not. Sometimes, even when you're doing everything you should do, it just does not work. They want who they want. Real talk now, okay? It's Juneteenth. You didn't bring me here to sugarcoat it and make you feel happy, all right? It wasn't my fault when my boss said they weren't going to submit me for a position I was perfect for, because that would have gotten me promoted. You know, this job would have allowed me to stay, live with my family instead of traveling all the time. That she said, I'm simply not going to recommend you for this because you are Black. And before you get all mad at him, I'm actually not mad at him for telling me that. I mean, I'm not happy to hear that, but I actually had high respect for him telling that, because he needed me to know that he wasn't going to burn one of his few favors to do this for me. And if he hadn't told me, look, the general just fired one overweight Black female, he's not going to replace her with another one, I would have still butt my head against that fence and still try to find a way to break down that gate and get myself in. It wasn't fair. Wasn't my fault. It's not fair, and it's not your fault. It's not fair that they'll fire a white guy and think nothing else about putting another white guy in his face, but they do think about a Black woman in these white male dominated career fields. So sometimes it really isn't your fault. And you're not responsible for what's not your fault. But you are responsible to your dream. You're not responsible for the fact that people be how people be, but you are responsible to your dream. You are responsible to your life. Too many of us have allowed life, circumstances, and well-meaning but dream-killing people to back us into a corner and keep us playing small. You're never going to win the game playing small. And so I'm going to tell you how to win, all right? I'm going to tell you how to win the game. And win the game, like many speakers, y'all, that is an acronym. So if you have a piece of paper with me today, I want you to draw a line down the center and draw a line down the middle. So you've got yourself a cross, okay? And so win the game, like many speakers have, that is an acronym, okay? It stands for Goals, Advocate, Mentor, and Excellence. Now, truth in advertising, I think we should start with the foundation of excellence, okay? I think then from there we establish our goals. All right. Then we seek mentoring. And while we do that, we develop a relationship with an advocate. Okay? But EGMA doesn't sound as cool as GAME. So I hope that you'll give me a little grace today to talk about the letters GAME out of order. All right. Now, if you're super creative and you can help me get them in a good order with a super cool title, I'll even give you I'll give you credit on the book that we're putting it in. All right. So be sure to connect with me on social media. JJ Knows the Way. Excuse me. We're going to do something that's a little interactive. I hope you have your paper divided into a quadrant. And I went ahead and wrote mine in so I don't lose track of what I'm saying because it is late and it's been a long day for the conference. Okay. Excellence. Okay. Excellence is the first one I'm going to talk about. When I taught at Air University, an original Tuskegee Airman, Lieutenant Colonel Herb Carter, he was a regular speaker at the college, and I was the chief of the Commander's Action Group, which subordinated protocol. So I was the chief of the Commander's Action Group. We did all his special projects, all his speech writing and things like that. And then one of my people was in charge of protocol. And so we saw all of these special visitors quite often. He was a regular speaker at the college, and he saw I was struggling early in my assignment there. He pulled me aside and he taught me that excellence is the antidote to racism. People make their snap judgments and you can't talk them out of their opinion, okay? You can't meme them enough, yell at them enough, keyboard Facebook warrior them enough, shame them enough to change their mind. You have to show them that they're wrong. And excellent isn't just what we do, it's who we are. So to win the game, we have to be excellent. We have to walk in the energy of excellence. And that energy, it'll resonate with their energy and it begins to change their mind. I built my career upon excellence and I changed a lot of minds about what Black people are capable of. So who we are is the foundation. That's why it doesn't matter what environment you grew up in, what money you have or don't have, what opportunities you had or didn't have growing up. Excellence attracts excellence. And when excellent people see excellence in us, they are compelled. They can't help it. They are almost obsessively forced and compulsed to want to help us succeed. When we walk in excellence, we can achieve anything we set our minds to. And so for this workshop, I want you to take a look at your paper. I want you to put excellence up in your, I guess for me, this is my top left quadrant. I don't know how it looks on the screen to you, okay? I want you to put excellence down, draw your 2 lines and put excellence in the top, okay? Now, when we walk in excellence, we can achieve anything we set our mind to do, okay? That's going to lead me to our next requirement to win the game, which are goals, okay? Before we move on to goals, I want you to just take a second. And I got to figure out how I'm going to do this because one thing we don't want is dead air, okay? And I also don't want to talk while you're writing. But in the excellence quadrant, I want you to write down the words start, stop, and keep. Now, if something comes to your mind that you should start doing, if something comes to your mind that you should stop doing, if something comes to your mind that you should keep doing, go ahead and write that in even as I'm talking. But if it doesn't come to your mind throughout this talk, then nug on it later, because just the act of writing it tells your subconscious mind, hey, this is something I want information on, and it will help you. Your subconscious mind will help you get more information to your conscious brain about things you should start, stop, or keep doing. Okay. And so I'll give you an example of something that I should start doing. I'm gonna be transparent with you. When I was talking about how, in the last discussion about how people don't always follow up like they should, I am people. I am absolutely people. I greatly resemble that remark. So something that I should really start doing is increased follow-up. So that's what I'm going to write. I really need to increase my follow-up, okay? Something that I should stop doing. You know what's something that I should stop doing? I should stop beating myself up about being imperfect. And you know what's so crazy about that? I teach this stuff. I teach that we don't have to be perfect. And we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be willing. Like, that's my quote. That's my quote. That's J.J. Conway. But you know what? I find myself doing it over and over and over. So I'm going to put stop beating myself up. Up over imperfections. You write down whatever is on your heart. And I'm sure by now something's come to you, okay? All right, and then I'm going to do keep. What is something I should keep doing? So basically, this is something I'm doing that works well, and I should keep doing it. Don't stop it. Don't change it. Keep going. And I'm going to put under keep is creating pathways for other people's success. All right. All right. Zig Ziglar said you can have anything you want out of life as long as you help enough other people get what they want out of life, right? And I have seen that to be true. There are those who distrust your motives when you are a giver and you are a helper. But there's no reason that being a giver and a helper means you got to do it for free. Okay. So that's what we're going to do with excellence. What can I do to be more excellent? What can I start doing to be more excellent? What can I stop doing to be more excellent? And what should I keep doing to walk in excellence? Okay. Yay. So our next one is goals. I'm just going to write goals in the upper right quadrant next to the game. And this is what we've set our mind to. You know, what are our goals? So if you have a speaking business, or maybe you're in STEM, you know, maybe you want to begin with the end in mind. I don't know if y'all heard Dr. Jonas Gadsden today for our Juneteenth Legacy conference, but you know, he says the only place you find success before work is in the dictionary. You have to have hard work. Does that mean that everything that you work at is going to be a profitable activity? Well, it may not be, but you're going to have hard work, and the hard work has to be in the right direction. Ooh, yeah, I promise I'm not gonna get all into physics with y'all today, but I want to explain this as well as I can, because here's when you have a movement, when you have energy expended in a movement, it's not just how much energy, it's also the direction. And we call that a vector arrow. Okay. So this is my direction, is where it's pointed. And then the effort is how big the arrow is. And some of us, we kind of, you know, we go through life, we just do little efforts over here and over there and whatever, but we're pretty much just, you know, chill, going along a little thing. We're just going along and doing our thing, and we're not thinking too much about it, but it's okay. It'll work out. Or maybe we are thinking about it, but we're not doing a lot about it. And as opposed to others who are like, oh, I'm going to spend one weekend a month and I'm going to really work on my business. Or this is the one that I love. I'm going to ignore my kids all year long, but I'm going to take them to Disney World. They're going to have quality time, so it's going to be okay. If you can't tell the sarcasm in my voice, let me just let you know that I am being very sarcastic right now. All right. And so what happens with this person, they go big or go home. Well, you know what they end up doing? They go big all over the place. They go big all over the place. And at the end of the day, they've gotten nowhere. They started They started in one spot and they've ended up right back at the same spot or very close to it when where they really wanted to do, y'all can't read that, what they really wanted to do is achieve this desire. And see, they think as they're doing these big old gargantuan efforts, they're going to get there faster. But guess who's going to actually get there faster? I mean, sure they're going to get derailed from time to time. You know, from time to time they're going to take a speaking engagement they shouldn't take. They're going to buy into a business opportunity they shouldn't buy into. And then eventually, though, their consistency compounds and they make it with their little bits that they can do every day. They make it to the desire, and the person doing all the go big and go home still hasn't gotten any forward movement. All right. So we want to make sure that our goals are helping us get somewhere, because sometimes we're not really clear. We're doing everything for everybody else, but we're not even on our own priority list. Don't put it in the chat. Please don't put this one in the chat. But how many of us out there, we do everything for everybody else, and they need this, and they need this, and they need this, and they need that. We aren't even on our own list. There's not anywhere on our list. Do some self-care. Do some decompression. Do some journaling. Do some thought journaling about the business. Do some thought journaling about the family. Spend time with the family. Intentional time with the family. Have you ever thought about what you really want and where you want to be? Now, I'm not talking about wishing for it. I'm not talking about hoping for it. I mean, seriously, sit down and thought through it. I mean, visualize your goals so thoroughly that you can tell me how the suit you're wearing feels against your skin, how the sun warms your face when you're on that Caribbean cruise. How does it feel to have a long line of people waiting for your autograph? I mean, really dream about it. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I did speak all day, and it's the consecration fast, so I didn't really take anything for my throat that whole day, okay? But really dream about it. We did this all the time as a child. And somewhere along the way to adulthood, we stopped dreaming. And if we actually do succeed, you know, we go around saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And we say, I'm sorry anytime we win, so other people won't feel bad about themselves for our success. But you get in touch with what do you want? What do you want? What do you really, really, really want? What do you want? Okay. All right. So you're gonna put in this goals. What do I want? Hi, Trinette. How you doing? You're gonna do what do I want? And you're gonna take that before the Lord in prayer. So I'm just gonna draw an arrow and say prayer. What does the Lord want? A lot of times when the Lord has these high level goals for us, because we're not even expanding our thinking to even consider that he might possibly want to do something like that through us. A lot of times it takes him time to be able to reveal that to us, because we're not even prepped for it. We're not, our battle space is not ready to receive such a big dream. And so then we just push them away before they can even get roots and take hold anywhere, take hold in our heart. Okay. So you want to ask what you want, and then take that into prayer, and then ask what does the Lord want. And then he may not always tell you the specifics right in the moment, but I have found that the Lord has told me a lot of what he wants me to do and to be and to have. So excellence, goals. Now let's look for mentor. I'm going to rewrite that because that doesn't even look good. Mentor. Or as they say it in some African countries, Jegna. Okay? that time we want to look at this is a mentor. Now I want to explain the difference between mentoring and some other things. Like a lot of times I get people who come to me for business consulting and they want to be a coach. Great, you want to be a coach. Okay, let's talk about your coaching skills. Oh, well, I'm just going to tell people how to do this and how to live and what to do. And they keep going on and on and on. And their real thought is, I have all this goodness. I'm going to tell you what to do, and I'm going to share all this goodness with you, and you're going to do what I did, and we're all going to be successful, and we're all going to be together, and it's all going to be great. But that's not what coaching is. Coaching is drawing out from within you, allowing that person to help draw out from within you what it is you want to do next. A mentor is someone who's already done what you want to do, and they can show you how to shorten your learning curve. They can also place you in certain positions to shorten your learning curve. And so, I'm not going to spend a huge lot of time on this. I mean, some of you have, seen real world mentoring in action. And those of you who are in the conference today, especially the folks in the room, you got a taste of real world mentoring with one of our guest speakers. And it was phenomenal. I mean, I think every life in the room was touched by this gentleman. All right. And so I'm going to say two things about mentoring. One, you want to make sure your mentor has actually done what you want to do, because most haven't. They think they're going to mentor and they think they're going to coach you, but they haven't done it. Now, a coach can really do a good coaching job and not have actually done the thing you want to do. Okay. But a mentor is supposed to shorten your learning curve. See, coaching, you're wrestling with the question and the growth is in the wrestling. Well, the mentoring, I'm done wrestling with the question. I know where I need to go and what I need to do. I need somebody to open up the door. I need somebody to shorten my learning curve. I need somebody to tell me, watch out for this pitfall because this got me here and that pitfall got me there. And I want something like that, so that someone can show me those things, so that I can actually shorten my experience and get to where I need to go faster and be, how does that phrase go? Be bigger, better, faster, right? And so that's what a mentor does. You got to make sure they actually have done what you want to do, or they have, for some other reason, enough extenuating circumstance that you can actually believe that they can help you open those doors and shorten your learning curve. Well, most haven't. I'm going to be upfront with you. Most haven't. Okay. Number two, on this point of mentoring and finding a good mentor, please, sir, please, ma'am, do not be afraid to pay for quality mentoring. Because some relationships, they just don't begin until the mentor sees that you're serious. Okay. And I've invited you all to participate in my group coaching. And we're going to talk at the next one of these. We're going to talk about this topic, what to look for in a mentor and what to avoid. Okay. Because too many of us get derailed by people who just take our money and they don't help us achieve what we want to achieve. And I don't know about you, but I'm not spending all my time doing this. I'm not spending all my time going to meetings. I'm not spending all my time on Zoom. I'm not spending all my time putting on conferences. I'm not spending all my time all on these other things just to sit around and be in the same place that I was last time, but feel better about it. And actually, I'm the type that wouldn't feel better about it. If I don't have any results, if I don't have any action, if I don't have anything to go back and tweak, well, then I'm not happy. Okay. So that's our mentor. So I want you to ask this question in your mentor quadrant. Who knows the way? Why? JJ knows the way. Okay, I couldn't resist it. Who knows the way? For those of you who are new to me and my body of work, my call sign on all the different social medias is JJ knows the way. Who knows the way that I'm trying to go? Who is willing to show me the way? And then what will it take? Now, for those of you who have taken this class a couple times, you might be like, Geez, some of these things that she writes are the same, and some of those change. What I do what the Lord gives me in the moment for the audience that I'm speaking to, okay? So the questions again are, who knows the way? Like, who can legit help me? Who knows the way? Is that person willing to help me? And it would be nice if they're both the same person, right? Like there's all, y'all, I get all the time people trying to help me, and it cracks me up. Like I'll get the guys that are like, oh, I want to show you how you can achieve financial independence, you know? Ooh, it's 10 o'clock. I'm in a hotel. I may have to be a little quieter. But I always crack up. Like one time I was on the metro, and this guy in one of the cheap polyester suits, you know, like you got on the clearance rack at Ross, he's like, I can show you how to be financially independent. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, he really could if he knows money, he knows. But maybe he should wait a couple years before he can buy a better suit. And then maybe I'll be more likely to listen to him about, you know, maybe he could wait a couple years and fix up his teeth a little bit. You know, maybe he knows, because I remember when I was in debt, I knew, but I wasn't going around trying to interrupt people on the metro, trying to sell them into my program when I look like a ragamuffin. Well, you know what? I might look like a ragamuffin a lot, but at least I wear better brands now. Okay. So anyway, you wanna there are a lot of people out there. There are a lot of people out there who are willing to show you the way, but they may not actually know the way. And then you've got to figure out what it'll take. Don't be afraid of paying for quality mentoring. Some people you don't even get through the door with until you have paid a significant amount into their program, because they have such limited time and such a large expansive following that they have to put gates in place to make sure that the people that access their time are genuinely ready and willing to do the work. And so it's not always a 100% proof kind of, it's not a 100% kind of thing, but more likely than not, someone who's going to go through those pay wickets and show up to the mastermind and show up to the meetings and show up to anything they need to, where he's where that mentor is willing to show you, where he or she is willing to show you, you know, I'm the queen of buying into a program, and then I'm so busy I don't show up for it. Don't do that, right? But don't be afraid to pay for a good mentor. And that leads into the what will it take? Okay, you know, these are the people that know the way. Here's the people in that circle. I should draw it like little circles. Hold on, I'm gonna do it like this. Okay, I'm gonna draw it. Oh, it's like the 3-part model of man, y'all know I love that model. And then what will it take? I'm not gonna be able to get that in there without looking wonky, but we're going to give it a try here. Okay. The big list is who knows the way I'm trying to go. You're going to, from that list, you're going to cull down to who is willing to show me. And then you're going to go, what will it take? Because there's some people out there, you can build a good relationship with them. And by starting off in their mastermind program, it's going to drop you $20, $30, $40, $50,000 off the bat. Do you need to do that to find the mentor that you want? There may be other mentors available for far less charge, but they may not be as far ahead as the other person, but they might be just the next best step for you. Okay, so don't be afraid to pay if that is what it takes. Don't be afraid to volunteer. Don't be afraid to do those kinds of things. Okay. All right. Advocate. And I really hope, because we don't have any neighbors in this room, but I hear banging or something. It sounds like it's coming from above. I don't think they have a rooftop. And it doesn't feel like it's from below telling me, please stop talking. It's 10 o'clock. We want to go to bed. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. Oh, it's you? Please stop. Okay, come say hi. So you already interrupted me. Come say hi. I was already kind of interrupted anyway. Come say hi. All right.
You guys cannot see me without. You guys cannot now see me without my shades.
Oh. Mwah. Okay, go ahead and go to bed, John. I mean, not bed. I'm almost done. We can do some snuggles. Go. Okay, that's enough. If you're not going to teach, go. How would y'all like a 9-year-old mentor?
I would.
He would brighten your day. Wouldn't be able to help you with your business, but he'd make you feel better about it while you were doing it.
Also, I'd make you better at chess.
Oh, that maybe, yeah. Okay, go.
And video games.
Oh, and video games. You know what? We all need more video games in our life, don't we? Hey, stop! I go. Go. Okay, love yous. Well, then you say wait for about 10 more minutes. Okay. All right, y'all. Sister Janetta says, hi. Okay. On the last... Sorry, y'all. I'm all distracted now. He and I are doing Rosetta Stone. We're trying to learn how to speak Spanish because everybody thinks we're Spanish. So we're trying to just learn it and just blend on in, all right? That's a whole nother Juneteenth discussion. Man, I wish we could have had that discussion today. All right. The last key to help you win the game is advocate. So the last quadrant on our EGMA game, GAME, is advocate, okay? This is a key piece that many corporations and especially the military require that many of us don't know about. See, a mentor shortens the learning curve. The advocate is someone who opens doors for you and brings you along. So in our, do I have one here? Let's see if I have one here. Nope, I already packed them up, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Okay. So, oh, here's one. Okay, it's last year's, but it's one. So, yeah, this one was last year. So when Pam Perry, such an amazing PR guru, said she was going to, talk about whether George Fraser or Les Brown would write the foreword for this or that and the other, and you're going to come, oh man, how was she saying it? Basically, I forget the context, so I'm just going to say the bottom line. The bottom line is, speakers, as a speaker, you're supposed to tell a story, right? Never make a point without telling a story, and never tell a story without making a point. Well, I don't remember the story, but I remember the point. And the point was, when these high-level people have when you come in contact with the greatness and they want to pour into you, find a way for them to do so. Find a way. Okay. And while you do see advocacy happen through paid mentorship, like private access kind of programs, and I do that for people who speak at my conferences, most advocates actually do this because there's something about you that reminds them about themselves or resonates with them. You remind them of themselves, you remind them of their kids, you remind them of their own hopes and dreams, you remind them of a special time in their life. And so as you pursue your dreams and goals, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for an advocate, okay? And so, you as you work through the process, you're going to choose moment by moment what you're manifesting. Is it by design or default? Is it by design? Is it just letting things happen? The patterning of the past, of default, there's going to be times where you unconsciously move to where your old default patterning is running, and it's affecting your thinking, and it's causing you to do the things you shouldn't be doing and not do the things you should be doing, right? But when you notice that, you've got to move from that default to intentionality and thinking from vision. Okay. And so when you're operating according to vision, that's when you are now positioning yourself to be aided by an advocate. Okay. So an advocate, again, this is somebody who opens doors, who can open doors for me. Okay. Who can open doors for me? And then the last question I'm going to ask you is, or ask you to ask yourself is, how can I get on their agenda before I ask them to get on mine? Okay, so as an looking for advocates, who could open the doors for me? Preferably someone who you think is going to resonate with you and have your energy. But it is not always somebody who looks like you or has your gender or your race or your history. Sometimes it's not. Some of the people that have helped me out the most in my military career and even in my business are people that I have very little in common with, other than the fact that we are both excellent people trying to equip God's people and change the world. Okay, and make money doing it. Okay, and then how do I get on their agenda before I ask them to get on mine? So if you have somebody who really likes serving the homeless, they like serving at soup kitchens and things like that, maybe you start learning to volunteer and volunteer for that. Or if they have their own nonprofit, maybe you start contributing to that or learning more about it so that you could plug into a place that's genuine. See, we don't want to do things out of manipulation. A lot of people do things out of manipulation, but I'm talking about genuine, because when you come to somebody, you want to have genuine energy. It's more of that excellent energy. Okay, how do I get on their agenda? Okay, maybe they're opening up a new wing of their office. Maybe they're opening up a new division in the new leadership division, and you've got leadership training. You're licensed John Maxwell leadership coach, right? Like, you've got things that can help them, and maybe you put your proper things that can help them in the right time and place to help them. You're getting on their agenda before you're asking them to get on yours. Okay, and so with that, there's so much more. Like, we have normally, I did not build one for this year, so I'm not selling you into any of that today, but we have a whole morning or afternoon workshop on just these alone. And so if you come to the group, right here, okay, if you come to the group, we are going to slowly be working our way through these each month until you have a strategy and an action plan. I gave you a couple of questions for each of these. All of these have like 10 or so questions that when you start writing it out, then you go back to the beginning and you start writing it again, because you worked your way through the process. Now new things are going to pop up at you when you see the beginning again, and you loop back around, and then the next thing you know, now you've got the people you need to go and work relationships with, or build relationships with, or test relationships with, or maximize relationships with. Now you find things that you in your life can do to come up just a little bit better. Now you find things in your life that you can do to stop doing because it portrays you as being less than excellent. Y'all, putting these things in place will help you win the game. And if you'd like somebody who's been successful when they said she shouldn't be, whether they said it because of my brain makeup as a kid, whether they said it because of my gender and my race in the military, whether they said it because of my brain after that car accident, whatever it was, I did not let those things stop me. And you don't have to let anything stop you either. You don't have to let anything stop you. You know, this looks like I'm mad. I should not do that. I don't know how else to say it. You don't have to let anything else stop you. Okay? One of the ladies that came to one of my trainings, we did some one-on-one prepping her for her next phase of her business. She's like, you have to have more body language. You have to pat people and get them and welcome them in. But the thing is it's hard to do on the screen. It's easier on the in person, because when I'm patting, that doesn't look very nice. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. If you have questions, I'm gonna go through and take a look at the questions. But if not, my little one is definitely looking for some money some money. He is looking for money too. I told him he would make money by helping me out with my conference. But I am going to, I don't see any questions. I appreciate all the comments. Y'all are fantastic. But I don't see any questions. So I'm going to go ahead and snuggle my little guy and get him to bed. Y'all, if you're listening as part of the Ladies of Wealth podcast, I want to thank y'all for being here with us. I encourage you to join us on Thursday nights live. Right now, our classes are at 8:30 Central, at 9:30 Eastern, and we just have fun and we learn a lot that will help us take our lives to the next level. You can connect with me on social media at JJ Knows the Way. And the only reason I can say I know the way is because I know the one who is the way. So if you want to know more about him, come on and talk to me today. Y'all take care and be blessed.